I'm Kevin Coleman with the Scioto Post at possibly one of the best resolutions for the paper mill situation. County Commissioner David Glass, we've been having weekly meetings of paper mill response team, Pixel response team. How is that changing now?
Well, I'll go back to kind of the message I had today, which is, one, we're very excited and we're welcoming this investment from U.S. Medical Glove with open arms. And they've expressed a willingness and desire to partner with the community. And so, to me, there's, of course, that element of welcoming new investment, but the message is and has to be that we're continuing growth beyond that. The biggest outcome, or the most positive thing about this is not just what's happening behind me, but more what is the long-term vision, not just for this site, which is, it's a great thing that this site is now being put to productive use by an owner who wants to employ people here. We know that there is a large footprint that's beyond what they're going to use immediately, so I see that as opportunity. It's a heck of a lot better than what my biggest concern was, and I think I shared this with you probably in one of the earlier discussions that we had 6 months ago, was this site going the way of the GE site in Circleville, where it closed, it was mothballed, and it was untouchable for over a decade. This is an opportunity for that. But while this is a new beginning, I think the message that we want, that I would say, is that this is just the beginning of what's happening here at this site. And so we have had weekly meetings, as you referenced, and you've covered a lot of those meetings to the extent that they can be open around active economic development projects. We're continuing that weekly cadence of working with our stakeholders, planning for the future. The job is not done. This investment. We don't want to be caught unprepared like we were on April 15th. And that was absolutely my message. We have to invest aggressively with partnership, with collaboration toward future economic growth. That's been our focus since the fallout of the paper mill. But a lot of it now gets to move on to more broadly, what do we do, not just with what's here at this 450-acre site that will have other productive uses, whether that be by U.S. Medical Glove or partners that they bring in. We know that we have opportunity if we're ready for it, and we have to get ready for it by investing in site readiness, investing in infrastructure, because that's when you gain growth. But the culture around growth, and that's why I said in my remarks today, our community has to adopt a mantra of growth and use it more frequently. And that means being aggressive about economic development, and that's what goes back to your question of what does the next step of the Pixel response team look like. That was the title of a weekly meeting every week since April in the Commissioner's office. I think we missed one during the county fair. And that title has changed, but we're not done with that cadence of bringing in our stakeholders from Senator Moreno's office. Alex Sharpfetter's a part of that. Stakeholders from Jobs Ohio and Ohio SE, but more importantly, not to say more importantly, but what's very important to this process is that local government, local stakeholders are aligned in what that vision looks like, and that we're being aggressive toward that end. And that's what that has been consistent in our messaging through this, is that the future of our community isn't going to be solely dependent upon this site. And what we have to get away from as well is putting all of our eggs in a single basket. We need to, or just a few baskets. We have to diversify our economy. And what I said today in my remarks during this press conference was that we want to attract employers and investors that invest in the people, that invest in the facilities that they operate, and invest in remaining competitive in the marketplaces that they're in, the products that they're in. That's what, you know, we can talk about private equity in Pixel and HIG, and I can sit down and have that conversation with whoever for a long time. But at the end of the day, what happens when a company doesn't reinvest their profits back into the facilities where they're making their product, that is what you get a situation where it just doesn't become viable anymore. And that's unfortunately where we're at. In the community, as you said, got caught by surprise. And as far as I'm concerned, I never want to get caught by surprise again. And I also want to be measured in what we're doing and what we're saying, because this is exciting. It's an incredible opportunity. But in my remarks, I also said, we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. If they do, they're lying. But the takeaway is those that work hard, those that work together, that run toward the objective, are serious about what their goals are the ones that win. Even if you don't know what's going to happen, I know that if I work harder and we commit ourselves to this goal together collectively to grow our economy, that's how we achieve it, is by working. And we're more likely to have success when we're trying actively to do that compared to maybe the posture we were in prior to all of this happening. So,
well, it sounds like you have a business here that's the opposite of HIG. Responsive, local, concerned about the community, willing to work. Is that true?
That is what I observed in our interactions with them. Now, we haven't spent a lot of time with them yet, so I'm excited about their investment, and I have every reason to believe that is the case. I can see examples of it, like right here. I mean, this happened in 2 days. The site closed on Tuesday. I actually closed on Wednesday, but the site closed.
The property sale.
Here we are, yeah, the property sale. So I guess what was your question?
You have an owner here that is very responsive.
Yes, and that is really worth emphasizing, is that this company is one of the only companies that reached out to us in this bid process that they were running through with HIG, the capital owners. They reached out to us very early on, back in June or July, expressed their interest in collaborating and working with the community. At that time, they actually asked us for some letter or measure of support, and we said, listen, we're not involved in this process. We don't know what other companies are placing bids. We like the fact that you're expressing that. And they've expressed that throughout. We had a really productive meeting prior to this press conference where we had conversations like that. And the best example of the responsiveness and the openness is the early meeting and the engagement that we've had, but also what they announced today, donating PPE to first responders in Ross County. I don't know what that means for a budget, but it has to add up significantly when you think about how often our first responders are using PPE, medical gloves. But more importantly, there's that pride that also comes with it. And